5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light, camera, action. And we are live. We are live on the meeting. And today's meeting is Palmoclave, a webinar on telemedicine. I'm Agamora from Mumbai, and I'm your host for today's program. And I'm extremely grateful to the organizers of today's program, that is Palmoclave, organized by Cipla, for asking me to be the host to moderate the program. Cipla and my relation goes about 3 decades old, and I'm fortunate enough to have met Mr. Hamid personally, I know the entire team of the head office at Bombay, and then we have done more than 100 CME programs together across the country, across the world, I would say. In fact, I've done programs for, asthma awareness, even at Iraq and Baghdad, so my memory goes about 25 years ago, we've done that. I'm thankful to Cipla for asking me to be the host for today's program. I thank all of you who logged in today for this particular program. There are so many things going on. There must be so many interesting serials going on, Netflix and Prime Video showing some interesting stuff. And there must be a lot of kitchen duties. Everybody may have to perform some of the other duty in kitchen and house, but still you chose to be with us. I'm grateful to you. I request all of you to have 2 seconds silence for all those. We've had, some child there. We've had about 42 lakhs cases across the world about this COVID infection. We've lost about 3 lakhs lives in COVID infection in India. We have about 75,000 cases, of which about 3,000 people we've lost. In Maharashtra alone, I have 25,000 cases, and we've lost more than about 1,000 people in this corona infection. So I request everybody to fold their hands and pray for the departed soul for next 2 seconds. Thank you. I was wondering, why have we kept program on today? There are so many things going on, and today being working day, it's actually the middle day of the week. And when I raised my concern to the organizers, they said, "No, today's day is very important." And you look at history, and in Indian history, today's day, on this same day, do you know that in 1648, the Red Fort construction in Delhi was completed? 1952, the first session of independent India in Parliament started. 1962, 10 years after, Mr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan becomes the second president of country on the same day. 1998, we conducted 2 nuclear tests at Pokhran. 2000, my favorite, Lara Datta, she becomes Miss Universe. 2001, R.K. Narayan, one of the biggest names in Indian literature, we lost him today. And hence, today's day is extremely important. So we thought we would add something to the history, and we would have a program where probably it's going to be a path changer. The corona has taught us many things, and one of the things is probably this distant medicine or telemedicines. To learn more about this, I've got 2 eminent speakers. Both names are really known in the pulmonary field for sure. I have with me Dr. Sonia Dalal. Sonia, are you there? Sonia did her MBBS, DTCD and DNB medicine, and she is conferred FCCP. She's currently working at Vadodara. She has her Kalyan Hospital and is consultant pulmonologist at Sterling Hospital. She did her chest medicine from KEM Hospital, then probably took her training at Bichkendi Hospital. She spent a couple of years at Hinduja Hospital after that. Her special interests are sleep medicine, interventional pulmonology, obstructive airway disease management. She's a couple of papers published to her credit. She's involved in a couple of research trials. She was conferred American College of Chest Physicians Fellowship in the year 2008. She's a popular speaker, and if I'm not mistaken, in last NAPCON, I think we did a panel discussion together on interstitial lung disease. With that, Sonia probably is going to be talking today on telemedicine healing by wire. After that, we have my another friend, Dr. Indranil. Indranil and my friendship goes about, Indranil, what, 1.5 decade now? Yeah, probably 1.5 decade. He's a physician at West Bengal with special interest in TB and respiratory, and with special area of interest, pediatric pulmonology, something that I know nothing about. He is currently the associate professor and head of Department Pulmonary Medicine at Kalyani, the West Bengal University of Health Sciences. He's completed his MBBS in 1993, did his DCH, and then completed a MD Chest in 2004 from Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research. With that, Indranil is going to be talking about telemedicine, the current challenges. We will take up the questions. You have a chat box in front of you. So if you have any questions, you probably, you shoot those questions to me, and I would try to take up all those questions and would take answers from them. And we have another speaker, another faculty with us is Mr. Abhishek Kumar. He heads operation with the library, but unluckily I don't have CV. As I get CV, I would probably introduce him. With that, I hand over the stage to Sonia to take over her first talk. Over to you, Sonia.
Tele is a Greek word which means distance, and medere is a Latin word which means to heal. Over the last few years, telemedicine is pitched upon democratizing medicine by driving down the cost, easy access to care, and making efficient appointments. But if you look at the percentage of people resorting to it is very dismal. This COVID pandemic has seen certain extreme scenes like lockdown, which has brought teleconsultation into the spotlight. So ladies and gentlemen, telemedicine is defined as the delivery of healthcare services by a healthcare provider using information and communication technologies, which helps in the exchange of valid information for the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of the disease. It is also useful in research and evaluation, and of course, for the continuing education of healthcare providers, which actually we are doing at the present. It has several advantages. It saves the cost and the effort, especially the long distance travels. It provides timely and faster access, and telemedicine can reduce the burden on the secondary hospitals and of course reduces overcrowding. When we talk about telemedicine application, it is classified into 4 basic types, which is based on first the mode of communication, which can be audio, video, or messages. Then the time of the information transmitted. So the information can be transmitted at the same time when the teleconsultation is going on, or later on asynchronously via email or text messages. The third thing is the purpose of the consultation, whether the patient coming is the new patient or a follow-up patient, or there is an emergency consultation. And the last is the interaction between the individual involved. So there is an interaction between the doctor and the patient, or a doctor and a caregiver, or a doctor to another doctor. The technologies used in the mode of communications can be video, which can be used as apps, videos on chat platforms, which consist of WhatsApp, Facebook Messengers, FaceTime, Skype. Audio communication can also be done by a phone, app, or a technology called voice over the internet protocol. Then there are text-based communications like text messages, chat platforms, websites, apps, and then asynchronous communication via emails, fax, or recordings. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with a teleconsultation, you must have a good social media presence, offline as well as online. You can also do a dynamic social media marketing through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can also send messages to your patient. You can send messages via WhatsApp to your patient, or in fact create a broadcast group of your patient and set messages. So now let me run you through the process of starting a teleconsultation. When a patient calls for a teleconsultation, your paramedic staff should help and guide them through a process of the teleconsultation. The first, which is very important, is the registration. A link is sent which the patient would download as a Google form, fill up their demographic data and send it back to the paramedic staff. Then is the consent. The patient would give a consent that he or she understands the limitation of teleconsultation, however they are willing to do so. Here I would like to take 1 minute of explaining the type of the consent. So if the patient himself or herself initiates the teleconsultation dialogue, then it is called an implied consent. If a healthcare worker, a caregiver, or a medical practitioner initiates the consultation for the patient, then it is called an explicit consent. So when we send them the format of the consent, they can write it down on a paper and then send it back to us, or they can download the form, print it out, sign it and scan it and then send it back. Then the paramedic staff would ask some of the information from the patient in form of the previous prescription or the last prescription and the previous reports or the latest reports if the patient has. They would then explain about the payment module. This can be done through a various payment gateways like a Google Pay or a Paytm or any UPI payment methods, or even a direct bank transfers can be done. This is how a payment receipt is generated. And lastly, the paramedic staff would give a list of do's and don'ts so as to maintain the etiquette of the teleconsultation. Some of the important points that we give to our patients are: kindly check your mobile network and internet. Be ready with your queries beforehand. Not more than 2 people should be there for teleconsultation. Please do not hide any details of your health from the doctor. In case you do not understand, please feel free to ask immediately during the teleconsultation. You will receive a teleconsultation prescription as well as the receipt from the doctor as soon as the call is ended, and your consultation time would be 15 minutes. This is how a consultation prescription is generated and the receipt is generated, which is sent by the WhatsApp to the patient. Next, very important is what are the categories of drugs which can be prescribed during telemedicine. So we have certain list. A list O can be prescribed to any patient because these are the drugs which are available even over the counter. The list A drugs can be given to a new patient who has done a video teleconsultation with the doctor, or it can be given to a follow-up patient. The list B drugs are always given to a follow-up patient. However, you all should definitely refrain from prescribing a Schedule X drugs, which are the anti-cancer drugs and some of the narcotics like morphine and codeine. Teleconsultation can also be done by downloading an app. However, the same app has to be downloaded by the patient in his or her phone, an iPad or a desktop. You can begin by registering yourself on the app. You can then add your details, your registration number and the details of your clinic. Once you are done with this, you can start scheduling the appointments and start taking online bookings. So ladies and gentlemen, now I would summarize by giving you an example of the modes of the consultations and various case-based explanation how it can be done. So mode of communication would be either by a smartphone app or a WhatsApp, or it can be done by people from the phone where they are sitting in a remote village and are not using a smartphone, or a patient coming from a remote village through a healthcare worker. And of course, then you have a new patient and an old patient. Ideally, it is advised for a new patient to come and show in person at your center. So all those patients who are efficient in operating a smartphone, when they do an inquiry of a designated hospital phone number, then they are asked to install a telemedicine app. Then they would upload a registration form and a consent form over the app. Then the payment would be initiated via app-based payment gateways. If the patient is new, he is asked to upload a previous report or the prior consultations with the previous doctors, and then the consultation is done via telemedicine app. Remember, the drugs which can be prescribed in a new patient would be list O, or if the patient has done a video consultation through an app, you can prescribe from list A. If the patient is an old patient, he's asked to upload the last prescriptions and the latest reports if he has any, and then the consultation is done via telemedicine app. The consultation is done over a phone via WhatsApp. That appointment over a designated WhatsApp number has been given. Then the registration form is uploaded via Google form. Consent is taken. Then payment details are given and the payment is done through a payment gateway like a Google Pay or a Paytm, or any bank transfer is acceptable. If the patient is new, he is asked to send the previous reports and consultation and send it via WhatsApp before the teleconsultation, and then the consultation is done through the WhatsApp phone. If the patient is old, he is asked to send the last prescription and the latest reports via WhatsApp, and then the consultation is done via WhatsApp calls. If a patient calls from a remote village through a phone, then appointment is given over a designated hospital phone number. Registration details are taken over the phone, where the patient's details are taken in form of his name, the residential address, date of birth, and then the consent is taken over the phone. The payment details, patient can be asked to deposit the money into the bank, or he can take a help of a neighbor or a friend and do a Google Pay or a Paytm. And then the consultation is done over a voice call. Please remember, when you're using a phone and the video call is not available for a new patient, you can only prescribe list O drugs or only do a counseling. For the old patient, of course, you can prescribe from the list O, A, and B. If the consultation of a patient is done with the help of a healthcare worker, and if the healthcare worker has a smartphone, then of course, the principle remains the same, that either the healthcare workers downloads a app or uses a WhatsApp call or a FaceTime. Friends, I would like you to recommend certain readings for a teleconsultation. The first and foremost being the telemedicine practice guidelines by the Medical Council of India, which they have done in partnership with the NITI Aayog. And I would urge you to go through the website of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. At the end, I would like to quote Mason Cooley when he says, "The telephone gives us the happiness of being together, yet safely apart." Thank you very much.
Good evening, friends. Myself, Dr. Indranil Haldar. Today, I'll be discussing on telemedicine, the current challenges. In the last few months, the world has been upside down because of the pandemic of COVID-19. Because of this, our OPD, both in our clinic and our hospital, has been hampered, knowing fully well the contagious nature of the disease, and because of the lockdown where patients cannot come to our clinics. So there is a technological twist of life. Here comes the telemedicine. So if you see, India with its diverse landmarks and huge population is an ideal setting for telemedicine. Telemedicine activities started right from 1999, where the ISRO has been deploying a SATCOM-based telemedicine network across the country since that year. Various government agencies and non-government organizations has some technical institutes in India which have initiated with the aim of providing the quality healthcare facilities to the rural and the remote places of this country. Now with the 2018 judgment of the Honorable High Court, there are certain uncertainties about the real place of telemedicine. But again, with the appearance of the pandemic of COVID, there are some legal issues. And now by the Board of the Governors of the Medical Council of India, telemedicine practice has started. It was from 25th March 2020, the Medical Council of India legalized telemedicine practice with some guidelines in it. Now comes what is telemedicine. It is the delivery of healthcare services where distance is a critical factor to all healthcare professionals using communication technologies, where exchange of valid information, both for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases have been done, all in the interest of advancing the healthcare of the individual. So there is a doctor-patient interaction where technology comes in place. So the word telehealth or telemedicine or even teleconsultation is not synonymous. Telehealth is a broad spectrum, but telemedicine refers specifically to remote clinical service that has been provided. So we are mainly concerned in our OPD practice with the teleconsultation, telediagnosis, and teletreatment, whereas the other modalities like the teleeducation, teletraining, telemonitoring, and telesupport, which was there for the training of doctors and paramedics from higher level hospital, institute, emergency care is there and is an important aspect of this healthcare facility. So advantages are many from the patient perspective, from the physician perspective, and from the cost bearer. The telemedicine has been growing because it offers 4 fundamental benefits. One is improved access, the cost efficiencies, the improved quality, and because ultimately of the patient demands. In fact, the advantage is there as a screening tool, saving of cost and effort, because now the patient has not to travel the long distance for consultation. Mainly important in disaster and pandemics, which acts as a safety both for the patient and also doctor safety. And probably in this telemedicine, there is a higher likelihood of maintenance of record and documentation. Timely access and faster access is there, and doctor can work from home and remuneration is also there. So telemedicine in some form or other was there before the pandemic also, because teleradiology, ECGs have been interpreted by the cardiologists, the psychiatrists, the dermatologists used to do that. Now that it has been, spectrum has been broadened with the introduction of this teleconsultation by the physicians. So telemedicine, when it comes, while health issues do not come with a warning, while for health we do not require a doctor at all times, the need is pronounced when we are ill. Now in this scenario where strict lockdown is there and the possibility of visiting the doctor is at stake and the patient condition is not emergency, telemedicine is there and make it all crucial difference and plays a very important role. It is basically a bridge which gaps between the patients and the doctor. So it is gaining currency in India and globally. It is bound to become an inseparable part of the healthcare delivery system, and functioning without it would rather become unthinkable. Now the factors which are fueling the growth of telemedicine is the wider acceptability. Until some time back, it was thought that telemedicine is only for those who are techno-savvy and the young generation, but now it has percolated and people in the 40s, 50s and 60s are also using this telemedicine. It has multiplier effect because India is grappling with an issue of shortage of doctors. This situation is all above, and when it comes to specialist doctor. Besides, the spread of doctor is severely distorted and uneven as they are densely populated in the metros and less in the rural areas. This can be overcome because here now a specialist doctor from the metros can even consult to the remote and the periphery part of India. Affordability is also another issue. Probably compared with conventional in-clinic and hospital visit, telemedicine is becoming economical. Safety of stakeholders, especially in the time of this pandemic, is very important. Where now in the COVID pandemic, practically the patient and doctor has not been exposed by this infectious disease. During a pandemic, telemedicine that assumed greater significance. So still there are doubts in the telemedicine because protocol related to physician-patient relationship are there. Issues of liability and negligence, concerns about the optimal evaluation, management and treatment, especially when it comes to a pulmonologist like us. What about the informed consent? But still, now that we can take informed consent in some of the platforms, how can you keep the medical records? And if the medical records are taken or the pictures are being uploaded, how the privacy and security of the patient records are to be taken? How should we prescribe medication? Definitely it should be according to the Medical Council of India guidelines and how we can do the counseling. Modes are there. I'm not going in details of that, but the video mode, which is closest to the person consult, it's a real-time interaction. Patient identification is easier. You can see the patient and discuss with the patient. Audio is there. And text, which is convenient and quick. Practically, we are all convenient with it. At some point of time, we have sent text messages about the drugs or emergency medication, what the patient should take. So when it comes to teleconsultation, there is some controversy about the first consult, whether we should do teleconsultation, the first consult or follow-up consult. So what does the first consult means? It is consulting doctor for the first time a patient comes. He has never seen that doctor. He has consult coming for the first, or more than 6 months has elapsed since the previous consultation, or consulted for a different healthcare condition previously, and follow up consulting with the same doctor within 6 months of previous in-person consult, and the consult is for consultation of care for the same healthcare. For example, if the patient is suffering from some sort of asthma, and he has consulted 3 months back, now he has increased symptom, or he wants to change his medication, or to take some increase the reliever, or because he has to take some steroid, he can consult you over telemedicine. And of course, the issue of prescription should be according to the guidelines of the Indian Medical Council, where the name should be in capital letter, written, the strength of drugs, the name of the medicine, and all that are to be given as we normally give a prescription. Again, if there is an emergency and the patient calls you for teleconsultation, maximum what that can be done is the advise the first aid, the counseling, and the facilitate referral and in-person consult, where the person can go for a referral, or where should be the nearest hospital where you can go, or how he can meet us, he or she can meet us in my emergency department. So when it comes to examination, it is rather difficult in a teleconsultation how to examine the patient, except when we are doing a video consultation. For example, in a video call, we can see the patient. In an audio, we can ask for a simple thing like color of lips, the face, the tongue. We can give some leading question, the breathing, how fast it is, whether it's heavy, chest retraction is there or not. The sensorium can be asked, whether to know that whether the patient is in an alarming condition or not, if available. And most of the patients do have a blood pressure instrument or a pulse oximeter. We can ask for that, the temperature, the pulse oximeter, the heart rate, or even the blood pressure if they are checking it. But in fact, there are grudges, there are hindrances in this management, because if we see in the terms of perspective of the medical practitioners, doctors are not fully convinced and familiar with the e-medicine. And if you see that they cannot understand how their job can be performed more effectively and efficiently through the use of the e-medicine, though very thought of diagnosis of a patient when he or she is physically absent just on the basis of the data provided through them through the net. There are patient fears and unfamiliarity. There are lack of confidence in patients about the outcome. There is about the outcome, the main problem is that in any treatment consists of two factors, not only the medication that they are taken, but also the counseling. How can this counseling be done in the telemedicine? Financial unavailability. See, in fact, as already discussed, this is somewhat a cheaper form than the teleconsultation is somewhat cheaper because you don't have to establish clinic in that way. But the technology communication cost may be high in some of the places. Even in India, in the rural centers, there may be lack of basic amenities. 40% of the population, more than 40% in India lives below the poverty line. For them, getting a smartphone or net connection may be difficult. Again, coming to the literacy rate and diversity in languages, only 65.38% of the Indian population is literate. Statistics may be changing, and only 2% are well versed in English. So it may be difficult for them to understand how to go to which platform and how to download the platform that they will be doing teleconsultation. There are many technical constraints. E-medicine supported by various types of software, hardware still need to be matured. And I'm telling even a literate person, if I'm telling them to download an apps, they find it difficult. And again, after downloading it, if they want to search the doctor, that's also another difficult job for them. Coming to the quality aspect, quality is the essence of any practice and everyone wants it, the best quality that they can, but can sometimes create problem when it comes to the teleconsultation. Government support, till the COVID, there was some restriction with the use of teleconsultation, telephonic conversation or telemedicine. Now that the government is liberal and as there is some limitation, so does some private enterprise or also has some difficulties in this. And another very important aspect is the biological consistency. Because as we know, diagnosis itself is a complex process and the symptoms are not consistent in all the patients. So making a definite diagnosis just on teleconsultation may be difficult for most of the times. Coming to the medical ethics, protecting patient privacies and confidentiality should be according to the Indian Medical Council Act and binding and must be upheld and practiced. Doctors insist on telemedicine when the patient is willing for in-person consult. Doctors misusing patient image and data, that should not be done. Breach the patient privacy. Doctor prescribe medicine from the specified restriction list. In fact, there are some restriction in which in a telemedicine we should not prescribe medications. And what about doctors advertising for teleconsultation? For example, doctors making their WhatsApp profile that I am available on such and such platform. Is that legal or unethical? If something untoward happens, who will be responsible? Whether the doctor or the patient. Can a doctor be sued for practicing telemedicine by the patient or by their relatives? What are the liabilities of doctors in court of law if he is practicing online consultancy? So with all this said, the take-home message is telemedicine is a viable, legal, and a paid option, of course, if you are wanting it, that is available today. It may be a very good screening tool in this pandemic area. You know which patient you should bring into your clinic. We should establish a platform. There are different platforms starting from Docon, this Navia, and so many. Identify patient and yourself. You can take a detailed history and diagnosis can be made. Proper record keeping should be there. Ideal prescription with all details. We should follow guidelines on medication that should be given. And in emergency, console the patient, give first aid, and assist for further management. So thank you. And we'll be next going to the panel discussion and question and answer session. So thank you.
Hi. Very good evening, doctors. I thank you all for joining this session on such a short notice. I would like to thank you, CIPLA team, for arranging this session. Thank you, Dr. Sonia. Thank you, Dr. Bora, for setting up the session on a good note. So today I'll be just taking you through how the Lightweight platform works, how the consultation module works, what all you need to do, and how the patient module works as well. So we will be giving you a holistic view of approach that would be from the doctor side as well as from the patient side.
Thank you very much. I must tell you.
So first of all, let me share that CIPLA has no commercial interest in this arrangement. It's about doing their bit for facilitating doctors to keep their patients safe in these times. So first of all, it's about creating your profile doctors on a platform. So how do we do that? CIPLA team would be sharing a link with you that would be to capture your basic details. Details are like your doctor name, as in your address, your specialty, your location. These are the details that you have to fill in. Apart from that, you have to give 3 important documents. That is your profile picture, a government issued ID photo, And apart from that, you have to also share the medical registration copy. The medical registration copy is to ensure that we are onboarding only genuine doctors on a platform. So these are the details that you have to submit through this link that you can see over here. So you'll have to submit these details so that we can create your profile. Once you submit these details, Librate technology team would create your profile in 48 hours, and our compliance team would verify your details manually. And once your profile would be verified, you would get a message on your mobile. Like over here, you can see that congratulations, you are now a verified doctor on Librate. You can see the download link as well. You can download our app from here. So once you download, let's say if you have an app store, it will take you over here. Or if you have a, let's say, Android phone, it will take you to the Play Store. You can simply download the Librate app from here. So once you download, the first thing it will ask you to enter your mobile number. Now you have to enter the same mobile number which you have entered while filling the Google registration form. Once you enter the mobile number, it will ask you for you can verify it through OTP. So that would come to your mobile number via message. You can enter the OTP and log into the profile. So remember, this is the first step, which is about entering your mobile number and verifying your profile through OTP. Once this is done, the first step is about activating online consultation in your profile. Now this is very important step. This is what, when you will set up, your patient would be able to book the online consultation with you. So first you can see over here it's a text chat, then it's an audio and a video one. You can go ahead with all the three or one of them or two of them. That's completely your choice. You can select as per the convenience of yours that you want to offer to your patient. Once you are done with this, you'll have to also set your schedule, like which day you want to offer these consultation. So that can be Monday to Sunday or any specific day. It can be Monday to Saturday. Let's say if you want to keep a time 10 to 7, or let's say if you want to keep a time 10 to 1 and then again 4 to 7. So these all options are over here through which you can do it. So once you are done with this, once you set your text, audio and video consultation along with the schedule, the next page, the next step would be about uploading your bank details. Now, why do we need that? Let me tell you, Librate would be accepting the payment from the patient in our nodal account, and we'll be transferring these payment to your account on a regular basis once the consultation is done. So for that, we would need your bank details. Now these bank details, you can add multiple bank details at a time. However, only one would be active. Now while entering these bank details, you'll have to also upload a cancelled check. That is only ensure that the bank account is active. Once you're done with that, it will just ask you to verify, and you can verify, and next step would take you to the PAN card. Now this PAN card is to ensure that as per the tax guidelines, if you don't, you may go ahead, you may opt out for not entering the PAN details. However, there will be a 20% deduction as per the income tax guideline. So it's absolutely on your wisdom whether you want to enter the PAN details or not. Now, very next step, that would be to how to share your public profiling with your patient, how to let your patient know that you're available on the platform. So this is how you can do that. Over here, you can see there are multiple options through which you can share your public profiling with your patient. So you can go ahead with any of the options, being it SMS, being it WhatsApp, being it Twitter, or let's say other social media platform. You can use that, and you can share your public profile link with them. So over here, I'll tell you basically everything what when it comes to online consultation, that will be under Grow section of your Librate app. So under Grow, you would be able to see the entire details. In Grow, you'll have to go to private section. The private consultation which are booked would come over here. So you can see a patient named Rajesh who has booked a text consultation with you. So we can just get into this by clicking over here. So I could see now that Rajesh, a patient 27 years from Faridabad, has booked an text consultation with the doctor. So doctor can simply reply from here. Now, after looking at this interface, I'm sure you would find this similar to WhatsApp. The reason we have put it like this is to make it easier for the doctors community to use this platform so that you find it better, you find it comfortable using the platform. So you can simply reply your patient from here. Apart from that, let's say if the patient has booked audio or a video consultation, you can go from here, these icons. This is for the audio one, this is for the video one. Now, these options are available at your end, not at the patient end. Basically, doctor is king on a platform. So we have given you an option that you can consult with the patient as per your own convenience. However, these options at the patient side would be only active before 15 minutes of the consultation timing. So before 15 minutes, these buttons would be active at their end, and then they can coordinate with you. Now, once you send a link, the other screen that we have just gone through about sending your profile link with your patient. So when you send that, let's say through a message or a WhatsApp, this is how a patient would receive at their end, that I am now available for online consultation. To consult on app, download Librate app. So this is how they would get it, and they can simply do it from here. They can click on the doctor link directly and book the consultation. So when they click on this, it would appear, the doctor details would be appear, the consultation that doctor is offering, text consultation, phone consultation, and the video consultation. So over here we take the basic details. These are the basic details. We are not asking the patient to download the app. This is very important. A lot of your patient might be from a T4 or a very far location who might not want to download or comfortable in downloading the app. They can simply fill in the basic details like name, email, phone number, and they can verify through OTP. After that, we are asking the basic details of the patient, the purpose of this consultation. It's the same way when a patient turns to your clinic, you take the basic detail of the patient. Same thing they have to do over here. After filling these basic details, they have to enter the purpose of the consultation. So that when you go ahead with the consultation, you are ready. You know that the purpose of the consultation is. So next you can see basically when the patient, let's say, select an audio consultation or a text consultation, the payment page would be like this: online consultation fee, internet handling fee, and the total amount that he is supposed to pay. Now this internet handling fee is not the revenue generation source for us. It's just a technology maintenance cost, and we are very transparent in this. We are making it visible to the patient that this 10%, 30 rupees is going to Librate. So once the payment is done, the patient will get this start consultation. So let's say if it is a text consultation, they can simply message to the doctor their concern, and doctor would respond as per their own time. You can revert. So this is text consultation is valid for 7 days. So within 7 days, you can respond to the patient and clear the concern that patient has. However, if it is an audio or a video consult, so when patient would click on this start consultation, they'll have to fix the timing. So the schedule that you have put in while setting up your profile, these slots would be available to them. Now they have to fix a time, they have to set a time which they want to get the consultation from you. And once they do the same, you and the patient both will get the notification. This is basically for, let's say, while doing a conversation, you ask for an additional payment that we will see in the next slide as well, just to give a recap. So once you ask for any additional payment while conversing with the patient, this is how the patient will receive a link at their end. That, hi, please complete the payment of 550 to get reply from Ms. Anjali. Now this is how the video consultation can be taken. Simply, you'll have to just click on this video consultation and the video consultation can be initiated. This is how it would appear. Now looking at this screen, this is basically ad prescription. This is designed keeping the recent Niti Aayog guideline, which has been shared during March last week, 20th or 25th March, most likely. So keeping that in mind, we have done this changes at our end as well, and we have given you option of ad prescription. Before I tell you more about it, let me also tell you, you not need to go for the e-prescription only. You can always go for the prescription that you prefer, writing it with your letterhead that's there with you. You can write it on that and upload as well. However, if you're comfortable with the e-prescription, you can simply come over here, enter the details like the basic complaint of the patient, examination history, suggested investigation. Let's say if you want to go through some tests and all, you can put it over here. Bottom, you can see the medicines that you want to recommend. So this is how, when you will fill in all these details, it will also ask you to upload signature. Signature will be for the first time. Once you enter the signature, next time same signature would work. You need not to enter signature every time. So that's a one-time activity. So this is how your e-prescription would look like. So you can see the clinic details over here, and then right hand side doctor detail, the medicines that you have prescribed to the patient and the timing. Everything is mentioned over here. This is similar to what you prescribe in your own letterhead. Next to prescription, I want to tell you about ask for payment, which I just took 2 slides back, which is about when you, let's say, while conversing with the patient, you feel that the patient needs to go for some additional services that you want to recommend. Maybe it can be a diet plan, maybe it can be a counseling session with you, or it can be a different package probably that you have created and you want to recommend that to patient. Patient agrees for that. You can simply go on ask for payment, and from there you can go ahead with the payment that you are the patient is supposed to pay for what. You can select the option and send the link through which the patient can make the payment. This is also option of a follow-up. So like in your general OPD, when the patient turns up, you ask for a follow-up, right? That come after 2 days or 3 days. Same thing, we have given you option over here as well, that you can follow up from a patient from here. You can set a time. So just taking one slide back, this is basically to tell you that these all features that we have given over here, it's only to ensure whatever you do in the general OPD, the physical, when they turn up, it's the same thing that you can do from here as well. We have tried to make it as closer as possible. Now, this is also one additional feature that you can create a package of your own choice that you want to recommend to your patient. So let's say you're offering some kind of diet consultation or other services, or maybe you want to charge a different amount from your patient. Maybe somebody who is not well off and you want to charge a different amount. So you can create custom package. So you can create from here, you can create a package, you can enter the package name, package description, days it is valid for, the number of consultation that you're offering. So everything you can do it from here, and you can create an additional package as well, which you would like to recommend to your patient. Next is about the ledger balance. Basically, all the money which are coming to LiveRate would be credited to you in T+3. What is T? T is the completion date of consultation. So once your consultation is completed, in next 3 days, your money would be transferred to your account. Now through this ledger, you can see from here, you can select the date range and you can see the consultation that has been booked for you. Probably you can download the data and you can share it with your CEO or accountant. They can give you the details. So this option is also there available on our platform. So that's the entire journey of LiveRate from a doctor as well as from the patient side. Now, while using the platform, let's say if you face any problem, you come across any hurdle, you can write us on hello@liverate.com, or you can call us at 901-555-9900. We shall be there to assist you. We shall be available during 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So during this time, you can write us or call us. We shall be there to assist you. So that's all from the presentation side of LiveRate platform. I thank you all for being on the session. Now I would like Dr. Voda to take this ahead. Thank you.
Great. Fantastic. That was a very interesting platform by Cipla on LiveRate, right? LiveRate. Oh, very nice. I must also compliment Sonia and Indranil for that fantastic presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, and when I think about it, it reminds me of that song. since my voice is not good. See how our lives have changed. Oh, can't stop it. See how our lives have changed. This corona made a lot of changes in our lives. I can manage without drivers and housemaids. I can manage that without Swiggy and without Domino's Pizza. I know now how to cut cucumbers and how to cook food, and that too, edible food. Similarly, we have realized that we don't really have to have those busy OPDs, those crowded OPDs. We can manage without those busy OPDs. We can manage without those crowded OPDs. We can manage, these patients on this telemedicine, on these various platforms. There was a time where we always preferred seeing our patient, touching our patients, consoling our patients, looking eye into eye, holding their arms and giving them the confidence. And that reassurance was working for us as well. We used to get that job satisfaction when those patients, you meet eye to eye with that patient and you get that fantastic job satisfaction. But we learned when this MDR and XDR tuberculosis came. A lot of you have started practicing. I have definitely started practicing. We don't call our MDR and XDR patients for regular follow-up. Patients' relatives would come. They would come with those X-ray, the sputum reports, files, the create reports, or whatever test you've asked for, and you would try to probably understand their progress and would manage without seeing patients. And now Corona, it took us a step further, and here probably we are going to see them on platforms like this, video meetings, and probably the new platforms. Probably I think 2 or 3 platforms I have already trying to learn about, and there's one new platform that I'm told about. Looks that future is really exciting. There are a few questions here, but to begin with, do I ask you first question, Indranil?
Yes.
Are these guidelines valid only for this COVID pandemic, or you think they are going to be useful post-COVID also? So whatever current, Niti Aayog guidance that we have, you think it is only for COVID?
So, Agam, thank you again for the question. It's really a good question. So, is it for the COVID or after the post-COVID era should we be using it? It has, as you told, COVID is an eye-opener. Now that once we start using this telemedicine, teleconsultation, whatever you call, and we are comfortable in it, and we take and gain the advantages of it, we may probably continue it after the COVID era also, until the Medical Council of India doesn't take it back from us. That's the only thing. So, this should be the advantage. Okay, Medical Council didn't recognize it in its full extent, but it was there to some extent. For example, teleradiology was there, you see. ECGs were being interpreted by the cardiologists in a telemedicine in that way. So psychiatrist friend, the dermatologist friend were doing it. But when it comes to other part of the other clinical part, so it has been now legalized, and hope they will keep it, knowing the full advantage and the limitation of course, the limitation of it. There are definitely limitations.
Sonia, you have a comment to make?
Agam, this came out on 25th of March, the document which came out by the Board of Governors of Medical Council of India. They made this legal for the interim period for this COVID epidemic. And they have said that all those who want to practice telemedicine will have to take up a course on telemedicine. And it would be,
3 months.
Yeah, yes, but within 3 years after they they put it on the website of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So once
I'm aware. We've got a circular for IMA also, and today only we've got circular from API. The Association of Physicians of India also have given a circular today itself, and they have all promoted the use of telemedicine with this, that probably everybody will have to undertake the course. Sonia, you think it's practical to undergo the 3 months course? Oof, makes probably goosebumps. Oof.
So, Agam, we are not sure what they're going to put up on the website. What are the things that we need to learn? So we have to comply on the rules and regulations for the in-person as well as the IT laws as well. So let it come on the website, and then we see what it is. And we for 3 months, but then they've given us a time levy of 3 years. So you can finish within 3 years. You have to do it for 3 months, but within 3 years, once it comes up on the website.
Yeah, I do have a question for you again. Unless we are completing these 2 months of training, should we stop our telemedicine consultation right now, or should we continue with the telemedicine?
No, Indranil.
for this pandemic, you are given special permission. So whatever current
interim
understanding is
permission.
there, okay, this is a special permission for this pandemic. And probably, I have not understood it well, that whether you can give consultation only for COVID related thing, you can give consultation for, or any other cold specialty of medicine also can be done. And I think probably IMA circular is quite clear that, all specialties could do it during this COVID time, because there is lockdown and not many patients can travel to the healthcare providers. So probably this, ease is given.
This has been already there into the Indian Medical Council Act of 1956. So it was in Appendix 5, and now it is also in the National Medical Council of subsection 61, where this telemedicine, it has been there. So if everyone knows about it, there is no way that, in interim period, you can practice till the further guidelines comes. So when further guidelines come, then that is the time we will probably have to take up the course on telemedicine. Till then, practice telemedicine for all the medical fraternities.
So all delegates, please get ready. We are going to be having soon webinars on telemedicine practice. Course is going to start, e-course on something. So you will have probably 3 months meeting with and Sonia.
No, Agam, let me put it this way. The interim guidelines have only included telemedicine consultation. What they have not in their embed is 2 things. Number 1, the research and the evaluation, and the webinars of the healthcare workers, which is not coming in the telemedicine still in the guidelines of this 25th March. So we cannot do a webinars like this, which is not there in this, guideline. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Sonia, let me ask you this question then. You think I understand when it comes to skin disorders, I understand when it comes to psychiatric disorder, I can understand when it is, where your real clinical evaluation. No, I am sure those specialties also require good clinical evaluation, but relatively probably, you can manage with those pictures and with those visual images. Imagine a case like, say for our specialty, a 50 years old patient comes to you now. On teleconsultation, you're not too sure whether you're talking about asthma or you're talking about COPD. How would you probably take it? Are we not probably making mistakes of misdiagnosis here? And if that happens, where do we stand?
So again, the question is whether you are seeing the patient for the first time or whether the patient is a follow-up. Right? Very clearly, you have to define. If you're seeing for the first time, you can always ask for an in-person consultation. Now, if the patient is not able to come to you, right, then the only thing what you can do is for the first consultation is, I have also told in my talk as well, that patient probably you will be able to prescribe only list O or list A drugs after coming to a conclusion. In such a scenario, right, the patient, you can always ask the patient if he is not able to come.
I'm talking about there. How would you go about it?
So that's what I'm trying to tell. If the patient is not able to come to you, you can always ask the patient to go to a nearby registered medical practitioner, and then you can talk to that registered medical practitioner. What are his auscultatory findings? What is it?
Got your point. Indranil, in the continuation of the same situation.
Just to add up to Sonia, it's a good screening tool also. At least if you are thinking that the patient is having fever, or you can guide him where to go, it's a very good screening tool. But when it's a follow-up, you can at least know what you have seen the patient, because most of the follow-up.
Imagine a situation. Let me take you further. What Sonia said. Let's talk about the same thing. You have a patient and he goes to a family doctor. Family doctor evaluates him and gives you the input on phone. So that means you are now talking to a family physician, a doctor in between, and you give him some opinion. And suppose if that opinion is wrong, who's liable? That family doctor or you? Indranil?
So Sonia want to tell. Sonia will be in the right position.
Sonia?
Yeah, so 2 things. Number 1, first the registered medical practitioner who is with the patient physically will have to take an explicit consent from the patient. What I mean by explicit consent is the patient is ready for a telephonic consultation with other registered medical practitioner like you, Dr. Vora, or Indranil, or me. And when they take it, the legal responsibility remains on the for a doctor who is physically examining the patient.
Now imagine another situation. Say one of my patient calls me and I am not able to understand what he says. Say I have an old COPD patient and he talks to me about exacerbation. I'm not too sure whether this exacerbation can be managed at home or he would require hospitalization. And there is a lockdown going on. I tell him to go to his nearby family doctor and probably, make him talk to me. Here, I am directing that patient to go to a family doctor. Your previous situation was patient went to family doctor directly and the family doctor calls me. Now, what is the legal stand?
So it is entirely up to you, Agam, at that point of that time, when the family doctor also tells and you're not able to take a decision, then you have to refer the patient to the nearby medical institution on your clinical judgment.
No. It's not. No. Situation is different. Family physician gives me input. Now, I don't know how reliable is that input. So my decision would depend on that input. But here, I have directed that patient to go to that family doctor.
Yes, so then if you're still not able to take the call, you have to direct that patient to the medical institution. Legally, Agam, legally you are not liable unless the person who is in physical contact with the patient who can take the judgment, he is legally liable, not you.
Okay, another situation, hypothetical. There is a lockdown going on. There is a COPD patient who is admitted with me and he develops a neurological symptom. I am the doctor in charge. I see this patient. But my neurology is horrible. So then I would call a neurologist there. I would talk to him and I would give him the clinical scenario. He is not able to make to the patient. He prefers talking to me and based on my inputs, he gives the opinion. Now patient is not happy with that opinion or there is some complication. Who is liable? Patient has not asked me to take opinion. Since I'm not competent enough in managing neurology, I took a neurology opinion on my own. And that doctor has not seen the patient. He has just spoken to me and I'm following his instructions. Who's liable?
No one is. The thing is, you are not supposed to take if the patient is not giving you a consent. Because the patient has to
give you me consent.
Sorry?
Patient has given me consent.
If
patient,
there is
I tell him there is a neurological problem, I need to consult a neurologist. Neurologist is not able to make it because of lockdown. His society is not allowing him to get out of his house. And he talks to me on phone. I prescribe treatment accordingly and is not better. And then he finally decides to go against us. Who's at fault? I'm at fault or the neurologist is at fault? Patient is given consent.
But then there is nothing like fault. The patient can go to another neurophysician if the patient is not convinced.
Oh, this is admitted patient, Sonia. We are talking about patient who's admitted, and
if the patient does not want to follow whatever you have prescribed, he has all the right to consult another neurophysician.
No, the situation is willing to take it, but is not improving.
He's not improving, then of course you can, ask the same neurophysician again. If not, then you can take another neurophysician's opinion.
Okay. Indranil,
yes.
What we've been discussing, you think this telemedicine is useful only for first consultation or it is it is useful generally for follow-up consultation, or you would not mind doing first consultation also on video?
Okay.
Your personal take.
Personal take is, for the first consultation, as Sonia has already told, and I have also told in my presentation, there are a few drugs which you can prescribe after looking into the history. As a screening test also, you can tell him for a physical checkup to come to your clinic. But probably follow-up visit will be much easier because you know the patient, you have seen a number of times, you know whether you have to, if the patient is asking for example, an asthma patient, you know by the history whether the patient is going into an poorly controlled or in an exacerbation, and you can give him a plan for his exacerbation, or he wants just a refill of what the drugs are. So in fact, in any way, for asthma, you have a written asthma action plan, and this is practically an extension of the written asthma action plan that you are doing. Similar for COPD. So most of our pulmonary patients, practically if you do a video consultation for your follow-up, it may suffice. But practically if the patient is not recovering with your consultation, he should visit some other nearby hospital or a doctor in the lockdown time, or if he can, if it is possible, he can visit our clinic. It's the thing that I interpret what the first visit and the follow-up. So the first visit is very crucial. You have to be justified in whether you have to do your first visit in that way or not. And the drugs also, selection of drugs are also limited.
Sonia, you said when patient come to you, by and large, you don't need to take consent. consent? You really still need to take consent on telemedicine also with all these apps there. You think there'll be a column for consent also? You need to preserve that consent paper also?
So, what this guidelines are telling is that if the patient is initiating the teleconsultation, so when they call up, that means it is an implied consent. So they are ready for the teleconsultation, and that is the reason they have called up. But if the patient himself is not calling up for that, and if a caregiver or a healthcare worker who's taking care of the patient, or the other general practitioner whom he has got, who's initiating a teleconsultation, getting and convincing the patient, then you have to take an explicit consent. So in that form, you have to take a consent from the patient that he is ready for this type of a teleconsultation.
So that means you have to send him a form.
Correct.
He will have to sign on that form. You take the form, take the
Yes.
print, or probably save it somewhere on your screen. Oh, headache, too much of things. And then
So
you
there are
really
2-3
need
things.
to, probably record all the. Yes.
Yes. So there are 2-3
You're
things.
saying something?
Yeah, there are 2-3 things. How can you do it? You can send a standard format to them. If they don't have a print of or any, they can write it down and send it back to us. Or what they can do is they can, download the whole thing, the consent form, sign it, and then upload it and scan it and send it via email. Or else there is a, if you are using a library or using Docon or anything of that sort, there's a standard format in that also. They can fill it up and upload it in the app as well. But you have to archive all the data.
And suppose, Sonia, suppose patient has done that. If this library platform patient has used, has signed the consent and has given it to you, and then tomorrow there is your system crashes and you've lost all your data. What happens?
I'm sure Bajrang is online. Bajrang will be the right person to answer for that.
Yeah, Sonia, I'll answer that. So,
Yes.
Agam, so the way the system has been designed.
May I request you to identify yourself first?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Bajrang. I'm from Librate. So, to answer your question, Agam, the way the system has been designed, we have ensured that the data remains personal property of the doctor and the patient. And it remains only accessible to the doctor and patient. So even after 10 years, a doctor has to go back and refer to one of the conversation which they had with one of their patients. They can simply log into the app of that patient, all the details, all the video patients, audio conversation and text conversations will remain there. Our data remains on AWS servers, which are HIPAA compliant, so absolutely secure. So there's no possibility that the data can crash and it can vanish off. That's something which is never going to happen.
Imran,
Yes.
do you think we will need to take extra insurances when it comes to this, or usual insurance will cover this as well?
So this, see, we are already insured in some form of insurance. I don't know whether our insurance company are going to give insurance for this online consultation or video consultation. We have to talk with the insurance company since it is a new thing coming after.
Insurance has not been still included into this teleconsultation document so far. They have stayed away from that. So we are still waiting that whether this insurance part would be included, in further days or not.
I think, Agam, just to add,
there are two things: patients getting reimbursements, and the doctors, probably legal part of it.
So both have been kept.
Insurance, medical legal insurances that you have. Both are probably yet we are not
Both
clear.
have
As of
out
now,
of the both are out of the ambit of the guidelines so far.
But Agam,
What
patient
about the
getting
issues of probably? Sorry, patient.
about patient
You said
getting
something.
reimbursement. Patient getting reimbursement. I don't know. There are different companies which will be reimbursing. For example, if there are some private companies which are reimbursing, this teleconsultation probably should be reimbursed because they are signed by us. And so, what's the problem in reimbursement of the medications or the drugs that we are doing or investigation that we are writing?
So we have to look at it. We just for last 1 month. Because since the document has come on 5th of March, let us see how many teleconsultations we are doing it and how many companies have started reimbursing. So far, I have come across none that anyone has got reimbursement from the same.
As of now, there are no reimbursements going on. In fact, telemedicine was going on before this also. Telemedicine, though it was not legal, but then a lot of doctors were doing telemedicine and it was never reimbursed. Do we need to record all these video discussions as well? Say, suppose you are not using any of the platforms. Say somebody talks to you on WhatsApp, somebody talks to you on Google Duo, and probably you end up giving them advice. Do you think we need to record the entire conversation? And if you record, where do you store it?
So,
Sonia?
Agam, we need to record all the, whatever the negotiations we have done with them in the terms of the history taking. The other thing is we need to record their reports. We need to record their radiological reports, the microbiological, the pathological reports, and we have to record their prescriptions and the consent if it is an explicit consent. But I don't think so that we need to record whatever the conversation we are doing on the video. That is not needed.
But fortunately, this fortunately, for example, the Liberator or something, other platforms that are there, they are recording it for us. That's one advantage, rather than doing on a WhatsApp or a Google Duo or something. So it's better that you do in some platform which will be keeping the records and will be archiving those records.
Agam, just to add to that, so as per the Niti Aayog guidelines, I think it's very important from a medico-legal perspective that all patient-related documentation and discussion has to be documented and kept secured for a period of at least 3 years, minimum 3 years. And there has been legal precedents as well, wherein some of the reputed hospitals have lost cases against patients because they could not produce the documentation. So
Bajrang, you don't need a video for the same. You just have to maintain all the records of the patients.
So basically, if you're doing a video consultation with one of your patients, I think it makes sense if it is recorded and kept secured. Because tomorrow, if something,
how many?
Yes.
If say you do 10 video consultations today, how are you going to store those 10 videos? Where do you store?
So that is where a platform like ours actually play a crucial role, because as Dr. Indranil.
So your platform will be able to save all those videos as well?
Sorry?
Your platform will be able to save all those videos as well forever? For
yes,
2 years,
all
3 years,
the audio clips, the video clips, everything will be there saved for the doctor. So you can come back and access it, like I said, even after 10 years if you want to do it.
So Agam, that's the real advantage I see over if you do a video consultation over a say WhatsApp or a Google Duo over these platforms. I don't know what the Docon or the Navi are doing it, whether they're recording the video consultation, but I'm happy to hear that the Liberate is doing that. So I have done a few this video consultation in this Docon or the Liberate. I don't know this Navia. I don't know whether they are recording it, because I am not asked them about whether they are recording or archiving it.
Oh, it's a new thing. We get to learn daily. If we 3-4 brains like this interact, there are so many new things which would come up, and probably it would help us improvise these particular platforms further.
Definitely.
So, Agam, can I add one thing?
All yours.
Yeah. Okay, Agam. So what is Niti Aayog saying? I'm reading that I have with me. So the records to be kept in teleconsultations are the medical records, right? So those are the email records, the text records, right? The log records, the patient records, prescription, and the bill records.
Okay, got your point. Are there any questions from the audience? I can't see it on my screen.
Again, Agam,
anybody would
my perspective, what I think, if you just give an advertisement in your say WhatsApp DP that I am available on this platform, is that legal?
I wanted to know this as well.
So I also don't know whether it is legal.
Sonia, you did mention about Sonia did mention in a presentation about the presence on social media. And when I got the presentation, I told that you have a message which goes that now I'm available on this platform and that platform, and etc.
You make your
advertising yourself.
You make
how
your
does,
DP.
How does Medical Council of India look at it? Sonia, what do you think?
No, it's still out of this record, Agam. They have not mentioned that this is, legal or not. So far, once it comes out, then it is the even all this library and all those people are advertising for the doctors. And even the patients are rating the doctors or on the Google and all those things. So they have still not mentioned on the document. If it is not mentioned, go ahead and do it.
So Sonia, one thing is clear.
Yes.
A doctor advertising for himself, or if you are doing some of the, it is unethical. I don't know whether it is illegal or not, but it's unethical. So if I'm advertising, I'm such and such doctor, please do come to me. So when you are using your DP, I'm available on such and such platform, or some of the platforms are sending SMS or sending some say WhatsApp messages that such and such doctor with such and such degree is available on this platform. Is it legal or ethical? I'm not coming to legal. I know that it's nothing way you cannot challenge in the court, but is it ethical to do such things?
So I like to answer that, Dr. Indranil. So basically the way it works for Librate, the doctors who are on Librate and using our telemedicine platform, we have created a very unique link for all the doctors. And these links have to be shared by the doctors amongst their patients, their contacts, their family and friend circle. Unless a doctor is doing that, people are not going to come to know that you are actually practicing telemedicine and you can be approached for a telemedicine consultation. So that's something which a doctor has to do. Otherwise, the patients will not come to know.
No, I think, I get your point, Bajrang. That's a fantastic point. But as of now, what I suggest to all viewers, and probably, I may conclude this discussion on this point, that what we should do now, when patient call you up for appointment or to find out whether, what can be done in this time when they can't come to you, you may give them this option, yes, I'm available on this platform. So if you want to take facility of these platforms, you may take it. I am still not comfortable putting it on my letterhead or on my file that I'm available on such consultation. I don't want to promote these consultations only when patients find it inconvenient, probably, when they call up for appointments, etc. This kind of options may be given to them. I think we've already crossed 20-25 minutes of our time, and I'm extremely grateful to Bajrang for giving us the details of technical details of the platform and the legal issues with that. I'm extremely grateful to Indranil and Sonia for your excellent presentations and really eye-opener discussions. Would you give some take-home message, Indranil, about telemedicines, whatever comes to your mind?
So it's a very good way that we are seeing mainly in the time of pandemic. So people who are comfortable, techno-savvy in that way, or even who are not, at least for the follow-up consultation, who cannot come, it's a very good platform that we can do. In fact, we can populate this even beyond our COVID era.
Great. Sonia, any take-home message?
So, Agam, it's going to change the way we will be practicing medicine in the coming years. So I think telemedicine is going to play a game changer in the coming years.
Great. I take this opportunity to thank the House of Cipla, Rohan, Gaude, and the entire team for giving me the opportunity to host this particular program. COVID has taught me one more thing. Namaste. No handshakes. Indian namaste to everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a nice meeting.
Thank you, Bajrang.
Thanks, Sonia. Thanks, Dr. Indranil.
Thanks, Bajrang.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.